Hi, so this video has been a long time in the making, and is a part of a pet project of mine. It's what if monsters had Pokemon types. This is the first part where I'll cover the 31 natural monsters, along with their variants. The way this series will work is I will make each part regardless on how many variants a class has, but I will release an updated version of any part once the featured class or classes have reached a decisive conclusion. But without further ado, let's begin. Starting out, we have Noggin, the first monster any player will obtain, and it's pretty obviously a rock type, but I'm going to give it rock normal due to the humanoid hands and feet, along with the fact it's basically just a normal rock. As for its rare variant, I'll give it rock steel due to its bio stating it's a building block of an exotic edifice, as well as its coloring could imply any number of earth metals could compose the monster's anatomy. Finally, Epic Noggin is pretty straightforward. Rock Fire, due to it being based on igneous rock. Next is Mammoth, and I'm giving it the Ice normal type. Ice is obvious, but the normal type is for its humanoid features, and fluffy mammalian Pokemon are often given the normal type. For the rare, I give it Ice Dark, since it uses its stripes as camouflage, and it's known to taunt other monsters. Both are common traits for dark types. Its epic, I just gave the Ice type, since it didn't have any mention of anything besides the cold. I would have given it the fighting type due to its extra arms, but the only thing its extra arms are trained in is shoveling snow, so pure ice fits it. Toejammer is a quick one. I give the common and rare pure water, as they are basically just blobs of water. I did want to give the rarer a secondary type, but there isn't really a marshmallow type. For the epic, I'm giving it water dark due to it living in the darkest depths of the living ocean. Potbelly is an interesting one. I gave the common one Grass Ground, the rare Grass Fighting due to the abs, and the epic Grass Dragon due to the draconic features. The final single element natural, Tweedle, I'm giving the Flying normal type as it's based on a number of flying creatures like bats and birds, and most bird Pokemon are normal flying. As for the rare, I'm giving it the Flying Grass type as they live in foresty areas where sap, leaves, and other debris accumulates on their horns, which I feel is enough to give it the Grass type. As for the epic, I'm giving it pure flying, since I couldn't think of anything else to give this monstrosity. Moving on to the double elementals, we have Drumpler, which I gave the ground type to both common and rare, due to their color scheme, mammalian features, and elemental affiliation. I gave the epic the ground dark type, since it's based on a werewolf. For Fwog, it may be a bit of a cop-out, but I'm giving all three versions of them the water ground type, since they're based on frogs. I was thinking maybe the rock type because of their crystalline growths, but their bio states they come from muddy birthplaces, while there's no mention of what these growths on them are, which is why I chose ground over rock. Shrub is next, and I think it's a no-brainer to give the common and rare versions the pure grass type. They're literally bushes with wooden limbs. I was thinking of giving the rare the water type, but the most its bio brings up is ceaseless saliva spraying, so I decided against it. However, the epic I'm giving the Grass Fairy type, since its bio references all kinds of magic this monster can do, and since it's described as whimsical and mythical, I chose Fairy over Psychic. Cybop was a tricky one to nail down just two types for each, but I went with Flying Dark for the common due to its habit of scavenging other monster body parts for personal repair, Flying Steel for the rare since its design is much more metallic than the common, and Steel Dark for the epic since it no longer flies but ziplines from place to place. It's also very metallic and has a very dark color scheme. They're also described as Lords of Laziness and Sovereigns of Sloth, and sloth is a deadly sin, so dark works. Next is the amorphous blob Maw. I gave the common and the epic the water type since the common is described as having a dense fur exterior with a liquid body interior, and I had no reason to assume the epic is any different. The rare I gave the water dark type, because now it hunts for its food, tickling them into submission. Sure, it's not as dark as most dark type Pokemon, but this was pretty dark for early MSM. Next is the lovable Furcorn, which I gave the pure grass type for obvious reasons. I gave the rare the grass ice type, since it's described as being cold to the touch, while the epic I gave the ice grass type, since its bio says it's fully embraced its cold element half, but it still has plant features like wooden protrusions. For Pango, I was considering giving it the Ice Flying type, but its bio does specify that it's flightless, so I decided the common and rare Pango would be pure Ice types. The epic, on the other hand, is an ice sculpture given life by a rare Pango, so I gave it the Ice Ghost type. Octopus is next, and I think there's no better typing for an octopus tree than grass water. The rare is subtly described as experimenting with witchcraft by using various slimes and oozes to brew potions, so I'm giving it the grass dark type. Then for the epic, I gave the grass poison type since it's been fully infected by the Writ Rot parasite. Next is Quibble, and both the common and rare variants I'm giving the flying water type since they're aquatic birds. However, the epic is basically a different species. The only thing we know about it is that it's a prismatic from the Dawn of Fire era, so I have to go on looks alone, so I'm giving it the ground grass type. Our final double elemental is Dandydew, which I'm giving the grass type due to its resemblance to a dandelion. The rare I'm giving the grass psychic type since its bio describes how you can witness ideas and thoughts hopping between the two halves of their intelligence. And the epic I'm giving the grass normal type since it has a big focus on its hairdo, which makes me think of Furfro, which is also a normal type. Starting the triple elementals is T-Rox, which I obviously gave the rock type, not just because it's made of rock, but because most dinosaur Pokemon are also rock type. For the rare, I gave it the rock steel type since it has much more metallic looking parts. Then its epic has become completely covered with metal, so I'm giving it the pure steel type. Next is Clamble, and I gave the common and rare variants the grass steel type since they are plants with metal on them. However, I gave the epic the dark steel type since it looks less like a plant, and its bio says it has the sinister countenance of a fearsome villain. Along with its metal plates being covered in spikes, it gives the aura of evil. Pom-Pom is a pretty easy pick. For the common and rare, I gave them the fairy normal type due to their humanoid appearance and cheerful nature. For the epic, I think pure fairy works better, since it's taken on a much more cloudy appearance and is less humanoid. This is an instance where I would give it the air type if it existed. Pummel is next, and as a land shark, the water ground type suits the common and rare well. The epic, however, I'm giving the pure water type, since it looks much more like an aquatic shark than one for the land. Now having only 2 hands, a shark tail, 3 dorsal fins, and a head shaped like a hammerhead shark. Scups is one that I drew a blank for, but ended up giving it the water type since its bio says it has a water-filled body. If there was an air type, I would have given it to them. I was thinking the flying type, but it doesn't fit Scups like it does for the air-themed Pokemon. The rare I gave the water dark type since it's nocturnal and its bioluminescence suggests as much. The epic I went into a completely different direction and gave it the fairy bug type since it's a common Scups that went to the realm of Thingia and morphed into a monster that looks like Flutter, more commonly known as the monster from the Amber Thing and Free Thing decorations. And if I were to give that monster a type, it would be fairy bug. Breedling we can quickly gloss over since I don't have much to say, but I'm giving the common and rare the grass type and the epic the steel type. Bogart might be a surprise, but I'm giving it the water grass type since it stands in muddy puddles to suck up a mixture of water and dirt to grow its wooden horns. I was considering the ground grass type, but since Bogart has the water element, but not earth, I chose water over ground. The rare I'm giving the ice grass type since its bio says it favors its chilliest ingredient, that being the cold element, so the ice type fits, and since its horns are still wooden, the grass type still works. The epic I'm giving the pure fairy type since epic Bogarts stand in puddles of melted ice cream to suck up sugar, turning their horns into peanut brittle, and most sugar-themed Pokemon are fairy type. Kongal I settled on giving it the normal type for no other reason than I couldn't think of anything else. The rare I gave the normal flying type since it now has wings, that could be ears. The epic I'm giving normal bug since it now has bug features and reminds me of spiders or other bugs with long legs. Next is Thumpies, and I can't really explain why I'm giving them their types, but I'm giving all of them the primary grass type since they all have a connection to nature. But I'm giving the common grass normal, the rare grass poison, and the epic grass bug. Our final triple elemental is Sponge, and I'm giving it and its epic variant the grass water type since they both have plant bodies and are aquatic. The rare, however, I'm giving the grass poison type since instead of water it emits a viscous ooze that tastes revolting. Getting into the quads, we have Entbrat, and both common and rare I'm giving the grass type for obvious reasons, but for the epic I'm giving it the grass dark type, since its bio talks about how it prefers darkness than shining rays. I was considering Ghost, but other than this monster being based on trees in winter, who've lost their leaves, nothing points to it being ghostly. We'll be going in island order for the quads, meaning next is Deej, and I'm giving both the common and rare the ice type, for obvious reasons, but for the epic, I'm giving it the ice electric type, since its instrument looks and is implied to be electric. It also has a few enhancements that look high-tech. Riff is a fast one. I'm giving all 3 variants the flying type. I wanted to give some of them secondary types, but nothing really fit. Shellbeat, on the other hand, is more interesting. I'm giving the common and rare the water grass type since they are aquatic and their drum kits look to be made of some kind of sea plant. The epic I'm giving the water fairy type since its voice is said to guide disoriented vessels to shore, clearly based on a siren, hence the fairy type. Chorister and epic chorister I'm giving the rock grass type since they are rocks with plants living on them. The rare I'm making pure rock since it doesn't show any relation to plants. I'll bring up Mimic since it is a natural monster, but since I'm not going to be remaking this video just for rare and epic Mimic, I thought I'd add this disclaimer. It will be getting a dedicated section in part 2 where I cover the fire monsters, but for now, I'm giving it the normal flying type since it's based on a parrot, and is able to mimic other monsters. We also know it can change its appearance to look like other monsters, which reminds me of Ditto. And that's all natural monsters if they had Pokemon types. If there's any you'd change, let me know in the comments. Bye!